Hello everyone. In this video we look at the basic concept of data interpretation. In aptitude tests where logical reasoning, data interpretation, maths, basic maths especially is a part of the syllabus. These are questions that typically will appear. So what happens is there is data given to you and then there is a set of questions asked based on that data, right? So what are the types of graphs or representations that can happen and what are the basic questions is what we'll very quickly try to cover in this video. In terms of data can be presented in two ways. One is tabular form. So basically what happens is a table is there in which data is given. For example, if I plot a say daily temperature for cities, maybe what I'm saying is if the cities are say Delhi, Calcutta, Mumbai, and say Chennai, right? And for these cities, I am writing the temperatures for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 days. Now, right? Delhi is pretty hot. It is doing a 48 degrees Celsius. And then on Wednesday night it rained, so the temperature dropped to 39. Calcutta again is moderate-ish, say 39, 38, 37, and then for some reason rises to 40. Then there is Mumbai, rains happening continuously. 30 would be too much for Mumbai, probably 28, 29, 30, and then again rain happened. Chennai, say in the range of 35s. So this kind of a data is given, right? So this is tabular representation of the data. All right. Now this table can also be represented pictorially. What are the typical commonly used pictorial graphs that are used? They could be line graph, bar chart, again histograms and historograms, there are different names for it, but broadly speaking it will be either a line, a bar, a pie chart, could be a scatter plot. Basically any geometrical figure divided into parts would be a pictorial representation of this data. We'll talk about all of these in detail one by one. Sorry, we'll talk about all of these in detail one by one as we go along. So we'll have a question based on line chart, we'll take up a bar chart, we'll take up a pie chart, and how to go about it. What you have to always remember is the concepts remain the same because every table can be represented in these manners, right? So typically what a line chart will look like is, suppose I say, okay, for every city I will plot a line on a daily basis. So Monday temperature, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. For Delhi, the line will look something like 48, marginally increase 49, then decreases to 47, and then decreases to 39. So this becomes a line for Delhi. Similarly, a line for Calcutta and so on. So line chart. What happens for a bar chart? So for every city, Delhi, Calcutta, Mumbai, Chennai, I will plot bars for each day. Say something like this. A bar chart. For each city this can be done, right? Pie chart typically will be a part of the whole. So for example, again this will not be a very good representation in a pie chart, but what I can do is because the different temperatures for on a daily basis don't add up to a whole, so pie chart would not be a very good representation for this, but typically if I divide the whole into smaller parts, this looks like a pie chart. All right. My point is any chart can be represented by a table, any table can be taken to a chart, right? So whatever questions follow will be common across the four formats. Why these different pictures are used are for the purpose of better representation of specific ideas. So whenever you talk about business, sales, profit, you will see line charts used because they show growth or decline very clearly. Right? Whenever you see comparisons that are being made between two different entities, for example, temperature of a city on different days, a bar chart gives you a very good idea of how it has been going on over a period of time. Right? Similarly, there is a whole which is divided into smaller parts. For example, if I say in your school, how many students are from non-med section, medical section, commerce and humanities. So I can just divide the whole pie into 4 parts. So that will give me a very good idea of how the 4 parts compare, right? In terms of solving, in terms of numerical analysis, all of them will be treated quite similarly. What are the typical questions, or what are the points to remember in terms of again solving the question? Number one is, suppose if this table is given to you, what can you say about, for example, what is the best city amongst the 4? What is the which is the best city amongst the 4 basis this table? So the first and foremost thing to remember is, whenever there is a data given to you, please understand what the data talks about. So I had told you that these are temperatures for 4 days of a city. Best is something which is a subjective sort of a thing, right? So someone might be happy with rain, someone would want higher temperatures, and therefore according to the information the questions have to answer. So first thing that you do whenever you look at a graph is look at the title of the graph. What is it talking about? Look at the units in which the values are mentioned, right? From there you go on to the question and understand what exact analysis or what exact value is the question asking for, because there are times when you will be given questions which will be based on data which is not given in the table or the graph, but we make assumptions in our head and therefore end up making a mistake. So please avoid that. Common questions could be based on maximum, minimum. For example, on which day was the temperature of Delhi maximum? On which day or Monday saw the minimum temperature in which city amongst the 4? Right? So row wise, column wise, whatever, you're just looking at the highest or the lowest values. Average based questions. What is the average temperature of Calcutta in the on the 4 given days? Right? So as long as I know how to calculate average, I'll be able to do this question. You will realize when you go through the questions that most of the DI questions are based on mathematical concepts of percentage, ratios and average. If you're okay with these concepts, you will be able to solve a lot of questions in DI. Okay. What is average? Average is sum of observations upon number of observations. ये तो हमें पता है, sorry. Sum of observations upon number of observations, right? But what is average physically, as in conceptually, what is average? Average simply means all values becoming equal, right? So that is something that you have to understand. For example, if I am asked to find out the average temperature for Mumbai, what I want to do is, what I can do is 28 plus 29 plus 30 plus 27 upon 4, which will give me the answer. It's just the calculation increases a little bit, right? Instead, what you would want to do, or you might want to do, is make all the values equal. Okay, so what I'm saying is, all of these values are at least 27. 28 I have 1 extra, 29 I have 2 extra, 30 I have 3 extra. So a total of 3 plus 2, 6 plus 1, 7. If this 3 plus 2 plus 1, sorry, 6. If this 6 is divided on the 4 values, 1.5, so the average simply becomes everyone had 27 temperature, every day had 27 temperature, plus I had a total of 6 extra. I divide that amongst the 4 days, so each day gets 1.5. So the average becomes 27 plus 1.5, which is 28.5. You will end up saving a bit on the calculation. So if the numbers are easier, as in smaller numbers, rather than adding and dividing them, just give a base value to the average and see whatever extra or deficiency you have and distribute it over all the values, right? That is the idea of average. But again, sum of observations upon number of observations work for us, not a problem. There could be sum and difference based questions. Typically, you will see these in questions that talk about say sales or marks, you know. So it could say what is the total sales. Suppose this data was about sales of scooters in each city on the 4 days. What is the total sales of Delhi in the 4 days? What is the difference of sale of scooter in Delhi on Monday and Mumbai on Wednesday? So you're taking the difference, sum and difference based. in this, when we're talking of sum and difference, a good idea to understand is the concept of growth, right? So if I just remove this information for the time being, and suppose I say that we are looking at the stock prices of a stock. Say for example, LIC had come out. If people in your family have applied for the IPO, don't talk to them too much about it. Right? So it started at 900, it is dropped, but what we'll assume is that the times are good and the price of LIC share on say 4 consecutive days is 900, then it increases to say 910, then it increases to say 920, and then it increases to 930. These are stock prices on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday for the share of LIC, right? Now, if I ask you what is the growth on a Tuesday, the growth on any day or in any year is always with respect to the previous time period. So on Tuesday I will look at the growth over Monday, on Wednesday I will look at the growth on Tuesday, right? So as you can see clearly, the growth is 10 every day. So Tuesday it grew by 10, Wednesday it grew by 10 again, Thursday it grew by 10 again. The growth, when we talk of growth, we are talking of positive changes. If there is a negative change, you could use the word decrease, decline. If you don't want to look at the increase or decrease and you're just concerned with how much the value goes up and down, you will use the word change. So what is the change on Tuesday? It is 10 or plus 10, right? What is the change on Wednesday? It is again 10 over Tuesday, therefore plus 10. When I say growth, I am looking at positive changes. When I say decline, I am looking only at negative changes. Change is a word that you can use for either of the two, right? Now then what is this growth rate? The rate of anything is typically the percentage, right? Simple interest, rate of interest. So whenever we talk of growth rate is simply the percentage increase from the previous value. So growth rate on Tuesday will be present value minus the value in the previous time period upon the previous time period. Final value minus initial value upon initial value into 100 is the growth rate or the rate of change, right? You would probably appreciate here that the change on all the days is same, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The rate of change will be different on each day. On Tuesday it will be 10 upon 900, on Wednesday it will be 10 upon 910, on Thursday it will be 10 upon 920, right? What is the rate of growth on Monday? I don't know, because I do not know what was the price on Sunday, alright? So whenever there is a growth which talks about growth in a specific time period, it is always with respect to the previous time period. Growth will be in the same unit as the data given. So a price going from 900 to 910 means an increase of rupees 10, right? Growth rate will be a percentage value, and for that I will divide the change by the previous value and then obviously multiply by 100, because that is how we calculate percentage. Percent means per 100, so this is a unitary method you can reach this to calculate a percentage, right? Given value upon total value into 100 is basically how you calculate a percentage. Now if you have gone through company performances, or if you've been reading newspapers about how companies are performing and how they're getting a lot of valuation, you would have seen a word called CAGR, right? Or if you have looked at Shark Tank, right? वहाँ पे CAGR यूज होता था जब कंपनी की बात. What is CAGR? पता नहीं. GR is growth rate, right? CAGR is compound annual growth rate. So when I am talking of a larger time period, for example, I start a business 10 years down the line, what is happening? If I want to compare first year with the 10th year, I will talk about an overall growth rate, and to see what is happening over the years on an average, I talk about the average growth rate, right? For example, suppose the price of this share instead of 930 had become 990 on Thursday. When I talk of growth rate on Thursday or the growth on Thursday, it is with respect to Wednesday. But I can always ask you, suppose I bought a share on Monday at 900 and sold it for 990 on Thursday. What is the overall growth rate that I have? So if I am talking about the overall growth rate from Monday to Thursday, it will be the change or the growth upon the initial value into 100, which is 10%. This is overall growth rate. Now I want to average it or annualize it. What is the growth rate every year? There are two ways of doing that. One is simple annual growth rate, SAGR. For SAGR, I see how many time periods have passed. So one growth happened here, second growth happened here, third growth happened here. 3 time periods have passed, Monday to Tuesday, Tuesday to Wednesday, Wednesday to Thursday. So if the same rate of change was happening, then the simple annual growth rate would be overall growth rate upon the number of time periods, which is 3.33% per day. Right? Right now, if you look at the growth, it is 900, 910, 920, 990. The growth is not the same every day. But if I want to average it out, I can use the SAGR, which will give me the value as 3.33%. This concept is the same as simple interest. The rate of simple interest is actually the SAGR, right? CAGR therefore is the same as compound interest. If I want to calculate CAGR here, just go back to the formula of compound interest. Amount is equal to principal into 1 plus R upon 100 raised to power n. So here I will say the compound annual or compound average growth rate in this year, because we are talking of each day, would be final value amount is equal to initial value principal into 1 plus R upon 100 raised to power the number of time periods, which is 1, 2, 3. This value of R when calculated will give you the CAGR. Again, this is for information sake. In your paper, we do not expect CAGR sort of a question to come, because you would need some sort of calculation help for CAGR. SAGR can be expected. So overall growth divided by the number of periods is the SAGR, simple annual growth rate. Then is the concept of market share. Again, this is a percentage value. Market share simply means the part of the market that a specific company or a specific product has. For example, you would have come across this term whenever you're talking of business. But if I say that the phone market in India, which brand of phones, cell phones, has the highest, which brand has the highest market share in India? MI or OnePlus, whatever, right? So basically, I'll just look at the number of phones sold. Suppose Apple is selling 100, Samsung is selling say 150, MI is selling say 200, and another brand, say Oppo, I don't know if they are from the same company, this is selling suppose 50. And these are the only 4 brands that are selling phones in India, suppose. So this total market becomes 50 plus 1 200, 204, 500. So if I want to find out the market share for MI, I will say 200 out of 500 is what is held by MI. So this will come out to 40% market share. All right. Now, when we talk of market share can be of 2 types. You might have heard this in one of the Parle G ads. दुनिया का सबसे ज़्यादा बिकने वाला बिस्किट, Parle G, right? Now, when I say it sells the most, I am actually saying the market share is maximum. But Parle G does not make the maximum amount of money, right? So market share could be of 2 types. It could be by volume, which company or product sells the maximum number of items. It could be by value, which company sells the maximum amount of items. For example, say a Maruti Alto versus a Maybach, right? Obviously, Maruti Alto will sell more numbers, but Maybach will end up making more money. So the market share for Maybach will be higher by value, and by volume it will be Alto. All right. Again, you don't have to bother with this too much. The question in itself will give you what value you have to calculate, and therefore this question can be done just by the percentage application, because the numbers will be there in the question itself. Then is comparison of ratios. So typically in a say a line graph or a table, the question might ask you which year shows the highest growth rate, right? So you will calculate the growth and you will see which is the highest value. At this point, it is a good idea to talk about how to compare ratios. For example, if I say 1 by 2, 2 by 3, 3 by 4, 4 by 5. I ask you to arrange these ratios in ascending order. What will you do? One is you make the denominator same. So you take the LCM of the denominators and you make the ratio according to that. For example, the LCM of 2, 3, 4, 5 would be 4 3s are 12 into 5 60. So I make the denominator 60 in each case. This will become 30 upon 60. 20 multiply of 40 upon 60, 15 multiply of 45 upon 60, 12 gets multiplied 48 upon 60. When the denominators are same, higher the numerator, higher the value. So this becomes the largest value, this is the smallest value. If denominators are not something that you are able to find out the LCM for, find out the LCM of the numerators. 4, 3, 2, 1. The LCM is 12, 4 3s are 12. So if I make the numerator same, I'll write if this becomes 12, it will be 12 upon 24 or 12, so 12 upon 18 multiplied by 6 multiplied by 4, 12 upon 16, 3, 12 upon 15. When the numerators are same, the smaller denominator means a higher value, the larger denominator means a lower value. Basically, say 12 upon 4 and 12 upon 2. Obviously, 12 upon 2 will be a larger value because you are dividing the same value into smaller number of parts, right? The third thing that you can also use here is, I mean, of course, this is something that you would probably know. The third thing that you can use is, you can obviously reduce them to a decimal value and check. 1 by 2 is 0.5, 2 by 3 is 0.67, 3 by 4 is 0.75, 4 by 5 is 0.8. But by just looking at the ratios, it can be figured out to some extent which is a larger or the higher value. Just remember that for a proper fraction, so proper fraction is when the numerator is smaller than the denominator. ऊपर वाला नंबर छोटा है, नीचे वाला नंबर बड़ा है. Proper fraction. What happens is, if you add the same number to the numerator and the denominator, the value of the fraction increases. कहने का मतलब 1 by 2. Add 1 to each of them becomes 2 by 3. So this will be a larger value, this will be a smaller value. Right? Again, add 1 to each case, larger value, smaller value, and so on. For example, if I write which of the following is greater, 17 by 23 or 23 by 29, of these two, which is a larger fraction? As you can see, if you add 6 to both numerator and denominator of 17 upon 23, you will get 23 upon 29. है ये proper fraction. Therefore, this is smaller than this. Alright. Just by looking at the numbers, some ratios can be figured out. What we'll do is now, we'll start with a table based question, because a table simply has numbers from where you're trying to answer. So that will give us some idea of the kind of questions asked. Then we try to take that into line graphs, bar charts, pie charts, and so on. Yes. Some of you would have attempted this mock already, this test already on the website. The ones who haven't, just try to attempt the questions before looking at the solution. So if you're not able to read this, don't worry, I will read it out for you. So the information says CUET is a new entrance examination that we know for central universities across India. Very good. The following table gives the number of students unit who applied for the exam in 2022 from each state in each stream. Okay. So basically, non-medical, medical, commerce, humanities and others wala students applying from UP, Haryana, Rajasthan, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh. That is what the data talks about. Of course, the number of applicants is much larger. Uttar Pradesh is 3.3 lakhs. Rajasthan is about 48,000. Haryana is again maybe 60 odd thousand. So, yeah. Use the data in the table to answer the questions that follow. Great. So, what is the question that is following? The first question says, what is the difference of average number of students who applied from medical and commerce stream from UP and average number of students who applied from non-med and humanities from Gujarat? So, you have to find out the difference of two numbers. What are the two numbers? Average of medical plus commerce from UP and average of non-medical plus humanities from Gujarat. We have to find out the difference of these two numbers. Just put in the values in and check. So, medical and commerce from UP, medical and commerce, 630 plus 210 becomes a 840. Non-medical and humanities from Gujarat, non-medical and humanities, 950 plus 630 becomes a 1580. If you have to take the average, you divide by 2. Again, please understand, because I have to find out the difference of average, what I can also do is I can find out the difference in the total number and then take average. Either you divide by 2 and find the difference. What I am doing is I am taking the difference first. 1580 minus 840 will give me a 740 and then dividing it by 2. 370. Some of you might think that the answer should be negative. See, as long as it says difference, does not matter, the sign does not matter. If it said one value subtracted from the other, then the order is important. 3 subtracted from 5 means 5 minus 3. 3 subtracted from 5 means 5 minus 3. 5 subtracted from 3 means 3 minus 5, which is minus 2. But the difference of 3 and 5 and difference of 5 and 3 will be the same, that is 2. Right? So, when I say difference, does not matter which number you subtract from which number. Again, a straightforward question, just put in the numbers and calculate. Something that should be done in the exam. The second question then, great. The information remains the same. The second question is number of students who applied for CUET from humanities in Haryana. Humanities in Haryana. Haryana humanities 320 is what percentage of students who applied for CUET from others in Rajasthan. Others in Rajasthan. So, I have to calculate this number as a percentage of this number. So, I simply divide 320 by 480 multiplied by 100. The 0 gets cancelled. I know 32 and 48 have a common factor of 16. So, 2 by 3 into 100, which ideally you would remember by now, because in a previous video we talked about it, that we would learn the fraction values from 1 by 2 to 1 by 20. So, 1 by 3 is 33.33. So, 2 by 3 will be double of that, 66.67%. Right? Next. The number of students who applied for CUET in humanities. Okay, so the state is not given, we are talking of the total humanities. That is the sum of all of these. Is how much more? Earlier in the previous question we are comparing two values. Here we have to compare the difference. The number of students who applied for commerce. So, I will add this and then I will add this to find out the value. So, what do I do for adding? Let us complete zeros. So, 480 plus 320. 80 plus 20 is 100. So, if I add 20 here, 500, 300, 800. So, I write 800. This is I am doing for humanities. 40, 30, 30 is again 100. And 6, 6, 12 and 7 is 1900. So, a total of 2800. 800, 100, 1900. This is humanities. What happens with commerce? Commerce, I add these two first, 780 and 200. So if the 20 goes here, this becomes 800 plus 200,000. Commerce would be a larger number, I think. Anyways, 70, 20, 90 plus 10, 100, 6, 6, 12 to 14. Right. So this comes out to 2500. So I have to find out how much is this number more than this number. So what is the difference actually? 300. And that is where I stop. How much is this more than the number of student of commerce? Commerce was 2500, humanities is 2800. So the difference is 300. Now just look at the next question here. The number of students who applied for CUET in humanities, how much percent more than the number of students who applied for commerce? It is the same question as the previous one with a very small difference, which will change the answer drastically. What is the difference? In the previous question, it says how much more growth, change. Here it says how much percentage more, growth rate or change rate is what I am looking at, right? So whenever there is a difference based question or a growth rate question, please make sure to read it twice to see whether you're looking at the growth or you're looking at the growth rate, right? So when I say how much is this, how much percent is this number more than the smaller number, it is 300 more divided by, when you're writing the percentage, the numerator is the value that you want to find out. How much more is humanities than commerce? The base always is the number that comes after than or of. For example, in question 2, we said Haryana is what percentage of? So the word after of became the base. 320 by 480. Here also the word after than will become the base. So 300 more than 2500. Multiply by 100. 0. What I can do is, okay, let us not cancel this 0. 0, 0, 0, 0 cancel. 25 4s are 100. 4 3s are 12. So cancelling this right numbers saves on calculation time. Question 5 then, this for the same data. It was later discovered that 20% of the students who had applied in commerce, so 20% of commerce, I remember, is 2500. 500 of these students, 20 by 100, 0, 0 get cancelled, 20 into 25 will be 50, 2 into 25 will be 50, therefore 500 were actually from humanities. So these 500 students were actually from humanities and they made this correction. Then what will be the percentage increase in number of students in humanities in Madhya Pradesh? Madhya Pradesh humanities. What will be the number of increase here? The first instinct for us is calculate 20% of 220, which is 44, add that to 730, you will get 774, but this will be the wrong answer. Why would this be a wrong answer? Because the question asks about some information that is not given to me. It says 20% of the total commerce students. Does not mean that the change will be 20% every year. It is possible that all of these students wrote the answer correct. All the 500 students who put the wrong stream were from this state. That is a possibility, right? So the answer here will be cannot be determined. So as I said, please ensure what data is given and what is being answered or what is being asked to you for the answer. Broadly, this is a table, sort of a table based DI set, 5 questions here. Now we change these tables into the commonly used graphs. The first one that comes to mind is a line graph. I will keep repeating the values as in when it is needed. So says the following line chart shows the price of 5 stocks. Which stocks are these? LIC, the dark greenish line, SBI, this other line, HUL, the sky bluish line. I'm very bad with colors. April, the purplish line, and HDFC the remaining line closer to red on 5 days of the week. So on Monday the share prices were 430, 630, 904, 1108 and 1508. On Tuesday the different prices, Thursday, Wednesday different prices, and so on. So 5 stocks, 5 days prices are given to me. Question asks me which stock showed the highest percentage change from Monday to Friday. See, typically this is where the line charts help a lot, because a line chart gives you a very good idea about the change, but not percentage change, right? So if I am drawing a line chart where one value goes from 400 to 500, sorry, it will look something like this. Similarly, simultaneously a value goes from 500 to 600, it will have the same growth, same slope. Slope in a line chart represents growth or change, but the percentage change will be different. Please note that. Here the percentage change will be 100 upon 400, which is 25%. Whereas here the percentage will be 100 upon 500, which is 20%. So the moment you look at the line chart, the steeper the line, or in either case, higher will be the growth or the decline, higher will be the change, right? Change percent will depend on the starting value to some extent, right? So let us try to put in the values. I'll just write the name of the shares: LIC, SBI, HUL, APL, HDFC. These are the 4 shares that we have. 5 shares. We have to find the percentage change from Monday to Friday. Monday the price for LIC was 904. SBI was 1508. HUL blue was 430. APL was 630 and HDFC was 1108. These are the prices on Monday. On Friday these prices became 904 became 630 SBI, 1508 became 1804 HUL, 430 became 420 APL, 630 became 870 and then HDFC 1100 became 1295. We have to find out the highest percentage change. As you can see here, the change is only 10 on a base of almost 400. So percentage wise 10 out of 400 will be around 2.5%. Clearly this will not be the value, because as I can see, sorry, just a second, yeah, this seems to be a smaller value, so should not be the answer. Next, back to where we were. Next, let's look at a value that should be higher. So here the change is approximately 300, actually more than 300. Here also the change is approximately 300, right? So the growth for LIC and SBI is similar. Actually one is a decline. You're looking at the highest percentage change. The change is similar, very close to around 300. But for this 300, the base is 900. So 300 upon 900 is 1 by 3, 33%. Here the base is 1500. 300 upon 500 is 1 by 5, 20%. So obviously this growth or this change percent will be less than LIC because its starting base was smaller. So this cannot be the answer as well. Here the change is about 200 on a base of 11. 200 upon 11 will be closer to 20, actually 18%, which will be less than LIC as well. So this goes off too. Finally, I am left with APL. So here the change is approximately 33%. For APL, if I look at, the change is 240 on a base of 630 into 100, right? If we do try to solve it, this will come out to 6 4s are 40, 6 10.5. 4 upon 10.5, which will be closer to 40%, and therefore by approximation I can say APL will be the value. Please understand, there is no point trying to find out the exact values for all of them, especially when the values are a little spread out, because I can see that LIC is closer to 33 and APL is closer to 40, 24 upon 60. I can very well say that APL will be more than LIC here, percentage growth. Next, on which day was the percentage change in the price of HUL the highest? So let's just draw the HUL prices. They are 430 percentage change, 390, 380, 400, 420. These are the changes. Now on the first day, the change is 40 upon 430. On the next day, the change is 10 upon 390. On the day after that, the change is 20 upon 380. The day after that, the change is 20 upon 400. We have to find out the largest value amongst these four. See, the base is pretty close in all the cases, and therefore here the answer will be based on the numerator, because the numerator here is largest, which is 40, and therefore this becomes, Tuesday becomes the largest value approximately. This will be very close to 1 by 10, which is 10%. This will be almost 1 upon 40, which is 2.5%. This will be 200 upon 400, 1 upon 20, which is approximately 5%, a little more than 5%. So this becomes the largest value. Again, I am not calculating the exact values, because as you can see, the denominators are very close by. The numerator has doubled. If I wanted to have the same ratio here, this ratio here, then if 20 becomes 40, 380 has to become 760. You can clearly see this is a larger value, this is a smaller value. So instead of trying to calculate values, try to approximate values to be able to solve the questions a little faster. Again, you need a little bit of practice to be confident about your approximations. Question 8 then. What was the average percentage increase in price of HDFC from Monday to Friday? Average percentage increase. Because it does not say whether it is compound or simple, we'll assume it to be simple in cases where it is not mentioned. HDFC Monday to Friday. HDFC on Monday was 1108. On Friday it was 1295. So total growth rate of should be approximate 3.4, 4.2, 16.8. Okay. Okay, let's try to find out the exact value. So 1208 and 1, I'm sorry, approximately 187 upon 1108 into 100. 195, 295. This is the overall value, overall change, right? To find out the average, I have to see how many time periods are there. So from Monday, 1 change, 2, 3 and 4. 4 changes are there, so I divide this by 4. Again, I am going to use a bit of approximation here. What I do is I take this value to be approximate 0. Instead of 1108, let us assume the price to be 1100. If I solve from there, the zeros get cancelled. 187 by 11 will be 17. 17 by 4 will come out to 4.25, 16, 17. Therefore, the value has to be very close to 4.25. The closest here is 4.2 becomes my answer. Approximation. The value will not change a lot just because 1108 became a 1100, right? Question 9 then. If the price of LIC changed on Saturday by the same percentage it changed on Friday, then price of LIC on Saturday would be. Let's look at LIC. LIC is this line. So LIC on Friday was 630. It says on Saturday it changes by the same percentage it changed on Friday. So if I want to find the percentage change on Friday, I need the price for Thursday. Thursday it was 720. What is the percentage change on Friday? The percentage change on Friday is 30, difference of 90 on a base of 720 into 100, which is 12.5%. So you reduce 630 by 12.5%. 12.5% we now know is 1 by 8, right? So if I reduce something by 1 by 8, then 7 by 8 part will remain. If you reduce 1 by 1 by 8, so 1 minus 1 by 8 is 7 by 8. So the value on Saturday will become 630 into 7 by 8. Please look at the concept of multiplying factor in percentages. That is what I have done here. What you can also do is you can find out 1/8 of 630, and from there, solve. Yeah, so 630 into 7 by 8 will become, I have to now solve this. It will not obviously be a value that is a natural number, because 630 is not divisible by 8, and if you divide something by 8, the fraction parts can be 0.125, 0.25, 0.375 and so on, right? 0.85 cannot be the fractional part when you divide something by 8. So the answer should be 551.25. Let's see if I'm able to do this. 0, 7, 3, 21, 1, 2, 7, 6, 42, 4, 4. Divide by 8. 8 5s are 40, 4 1, 8 5s are 40, 1 0, 8 1s are 8, 2 0, 0.25. Yes. So did not have to really calculate, because 630 is not divisible by 8. The answer cannot be the options 1 and 2 because they are natural numbers. Also, if you divide something by 8, the decimal part has to be a multiple of 0.125. Right? If you divide something by 4, the decimal value has to be a multiple of 0.25. If you divide something by 5, the decimal value has to be a multiple of 0.2. Right? So when we learned the fraction values, that is what we came to know. And therefore 0.85 is not how the number could end. This is question 9. Next is a bar chart. Again, bar charts can be of two types, please note. One is this one, where so basically this talks about 5 students, 3 sections scores for CUET exam, each section out of 50 marks, students rank in decreasing total score in all 3 sections, study the graph. Okay. So basically this is the marks that Saurabh scored in section 1, 2, 3, Abhishek in section 1, 2, 3, Raj in section 1, 2, 3, Aman in section 1, 2, 3 and Rohan in section 1, 2, 3. That is what this graph talks about. This could be one sort of a graph. The other is a cumulative graph, cumulative bar chart. What we do there is, for example, if I am talking about production of wheat in a state, say UP, Rajasthan, MP, Karnataka, right? And we are looking at production for say 3 different years, 2020, 2021 and 2022. Bad years, at least 2 of them. So instead of having separate bars for the 3 years, I could have a case where I stack the bars one over the other. The production for 2020, the production for 2021 and the production for 2022 stacked over one another. This becomes a cumulative bar graph, right? Similarly for Rajasthan and so on. Depending on what I want to show, I might have a different setup, but again, at the end of the day, there are values that I have that can be put into tables and then solved like a table was solved. So here the first question says, who among the 5 was ranked 3rd? Should be a straightforward question. Yeah. Who would be ranked 3rd? You can add and find out. That can always be done. So see, should I add, should I not add? If I look at Aman and Rohan, Aman will be placed higher than Rohan because Aman has scored more in 2 subjects. Here the difference is just 1. Raj will be less than Aman for sure. Similarly, Aman and Abhishek, Aman will be higher. Abhishek and Saurabh, there it is pretty close. So let's add only. So Saurabh will be 42 plus 28, 60, 70 and 336. Saurabh will come out to 106. 42, 28 is 70 plus 36. For Abhishek, the total will come out to 45 and 25, 60, 70 and 31, which is 101. For Raj, it will come out to 34, 34, 35. So 34, 34 and 34 would be 34 into 3, which is 102, and plus 1 for 35, so 103. For Aman, it would be 39 plus 31 is 60, 70 plus 45, 115. And for Rohan, it would be 46 plus 24, 60, 70 plus 35, 105. So who is placed third? Aman becomes first. Yes, Saurabh becomes second. Rohan becomes third. Fourth would be Raj. Aman A. Abhishek would be fifth. Alright. Straightforward, add and find out. We keep doing this in our class as well. At least some of them, not people like us who score less. What is the ratio of sum of scores for section 2 for all the students to sum of scores of section 1 for all the students? Values are given, just add and find the ratio. So for section 2, the sum of scores would be, section 2 is the bar in between the 3 bars. Okay, so the scores will be 42, 31, 34, 39 and 24 to the score of sum of scores of section 1. Section will be 36, 25, 34, 45 and 35. So I have to add these two numbers. Here I add 39 and 31 to get a 70. 4 plus 4, 8 plus 2 becomes a 10. And 4, 3 and 2. 4, 3, 7 plus 2, 9. So 170. Okay. See, at this point, I can be sure that this cannot be the ratio because the starting value is not 175. 170 is not divisible by 35. Right? 170 is 17 into 2 into 5. So it cannot be divisible by 35. So most likely this will be the answer. Since the fourth option is none of these, so I'll add the next value as well. I add 34 and 36, 60, 70. I add 45 and 35, 70 and 10, 80, 150. 150 plus 25 becomes a 175. So 170 by 75 divided by 5, you'll get a 34 by 35 as your required value. Simple. 12th, Aman's total score, we had calculated Aman's score, is how much percent more than Rohan's total score. So Aman's total score was, I think, the highest, 60, 70, 115 is what Aman had scored. Rohan's score was 60, 70, 105. So this is how much more than Rohan. The word after than becomes the base. Since we are looking at the percentage, the difference will come at the top. So the answer becomes 10 upon 105 into 100. 10 upon 100 would have been equal to 10%. This is 10 upon 105, so just less than 10. 10 upon 100 is 10%. 10 upon 105 will be just less than 10. So most likely the answer here will be 9.5. If you do want to calculate, divide this by 5, 2 by 20, 200 by 21. Yeah, 9.5 something. This calculation will then go 9.52 something, and therefore 9.5 becomes the answer. The approximation was good enough to stop at that point. 13th then, the following paragraph, the data is same. Saurabh's total score is how much percent of the total score by the other 4 students? Okay. Saurabh's total score. We had the scores in one of the slides. So I'll just take that. Let's find out the total score of all the students. 106, 101, 103, 15, 5. 6, 1, 3, 15, 5. 6, 1, 3, 15, 5. This is Saurabh's score. Is how much percent, so this goes at the top, of the base total score by the other 4 students. So I just have to add the other 4. This will come out to 15 and 5 is 20, 23, 24, 424. So basically 106 upon other 4 scoring 424 into 100. This is 4 times, therefore 25%. If anyone has got 20 as the answer, what you have done is you have divided 106 by the total of all the 5. Here it is, the base is the score of the other 4 students. So the answer will be 106 upon 424. If anyone is getting 20% the answer, you have added all of them, gotten a 530 and then divided 106 by 530, which is wrong in this case, right? So this is the bar chart. As you can clearly see, bar charts, line charts are easiest to go into the table format as long as the numbers are given. In case of a pie chart, there are some changes that are made. Some of these values are not visible. So, okay, I'll just put in the values. So these are, if you look at these 2 pie charts, the first pie chart says, following pie chart shows the breakup of automobile sales in India in 2021. So this was the total sales of automobiles. This is how the breakup is in 2021. And 2022, this is the breakup for 2022. The first graph gives the value in percentage, and the second one gives the value in degrees. Assume that these are only 2 automobiles sold in India in the 2 years. Study the graph and answer the questions that follow. Now, when you're drawing a bar graph, what you will always do is the sectors or how much part go in the pie chart goes to which part depends upon angular distribution. That is, suppose I say that my scores in 4 subjects are 120, 30, 40 and 50. There are 3 subjects that I sat for CUET exam. In the first section I scored 13, the second one I scored 14, the third one I scored 50. So my total score is 120. I want to make a pie chart for this. What do? I draw a circle and then see what the ratio of this is with respect to the entire circle. So see, in a circle the total angle is 360 degree. Out of 360, this part will the first subject score will represent the first subject score with respect to the total score will represent the first part. So what we do is we take the first subject score divided by 120, the total score, multiplied by 360 proportionally. That is, 120 stands for 360 degree, therefore 1 will stand for 360 upon 120 degree divided by 120, and therefore 30 will stand for multiply by 30 on both sides. So this will come out to 90. So I draw 90 degree angle here. This becomes section 1. So if this was section 1, this was section 2, this was section 3. What will be the angle for section 2? 40 upon total into 360, which will come out to 120. Okay. So from here I will draw 120 degree angle. The remaining is, in this case, will be the third one, which will be 150 degree. Now in a pie chart, the representation of the values can be made in 3 ways. Number 1, in section 1, 2 and 3 actually write the scores 30, 40, 50, or I write the angles. I say this is 90 degree, this is 120 degree and this is 150 degree. So if you have to go from degree to the actual value, what you do is, because here the total marks were 120, so 90 degree will be 90 out of 360 into total marks. So I can find out the total marks. right? Now, if there are two pie charts and the values are given the exact numbers, they can be compared because they are absolute values. But if they are in degrees, they should not be compared. If I draw two pie charts and I say section 1 score for one student was 90 degree and section 1 score for the other student was 90 degree as well. Have they scored the same? Not necessarily. It is possible that his score was total score was 120, his score was 240, right? So the score for in section 1 for this person will be 1430, for this person it will be 60. Getting my point? 30 out of 120 is still 90 degree, 60 out of 240 is also 90 degree. So if the value is given in degrees, do not compare values across pie charts. If they are absolute values, they can be compared. Third way of writing these values is you give the percentage value. You will always draw the pie chart based on the angle values, but from there I can also write percentage values. That is to say 30 out of 120 would be 25%. So instead of writing 90 degree, I can write 25%. Since the total score is 120, 25% can be calculated. Similarly, here I will write the percentage value 40 upon 120, which will be 33.33% and so on. So what always happens, if it is a percentage value in pie chart, the sum will be equal to 100. If it is a degree value, the sum will be equal to 360, right? The degree values are calculated just like the percentage values, but the only thing is in percentage the base is 100, in degrees the base is 360. So here, for example, sales for the different cars are given by 36%, Hyundai is 24%, Mahindra is 21%, Tata is 11%, Toyota is 8%. Just quickly add and see whether the data is consistent. 36 plus 24, 70, 80, 60, 50, 60, 60, 21 plus 11, 32 plus 8, 40, 100%. For sales in 2022, Maruti is 108, Hyundai is 90, Mahindra is 72, Tata is 54, Toyota is 36. These are in degrees, so if you add this, 108 plus 7 to 180 plus 90, 270, 54 plus 36 is also 90, 270 plus 90, 360 degree. That is what the data talks about, or that is what the data is given to me. Question 14 then says, the number of automobiles of Maruti sold in 2021 is how much percent more than the number of Hyundai sold in 2021 in India? So, see, I do not know the total sales, so a comparison from here to here is not possible. But within the pie chart, I can make comparisons. Maruti in 2021 is 36% of the total of 2021. Hyundai is 24% of the total. Suppose the total is 100. That means 36 Maruti cars are sold. And Hyundai is 24 cars sold. How much is 36 more than 24? A difference of 12 on a base of 24, which is 1/2 or 50%, right? Whatever total you take, it will cancel out the moment you divide. So take a total which is easiest to calculate. Sorry. Moving on to the next slide. Yeah. The next question says, what is the percentage change in number of automobiles of Toyota sold in India in 2022? Percentage change in what number? Automobiles of Toyota sold in 22. So Toyota in 2022, if you have to find out percentage change, it will be over Toyota in 2021. In 2021, Toyota was 8% of the total. In 2022, Toyota is 36 degree of the total. Can we find out the percentage increase? Please don't. because 21 and 22, the totals are different. If the total was given, I still could have tried. I could have made percentage into degrees. 8% in terms of degree will be 8 upon 100 into 360. I'll get the degree value. But the problem is the total could have changed. And therefore, the answer to this question becomes CBD, cannot be determined. No comparison across pie charts is possible. Question 116 then says, it is similar to the previous one in the sense that it asks you the growth rate for Toyota in 2022. The change here is there is some idea given about the overall market share, overall market size. So the question says the total automobile market in India grows by 20% in 2022, and therefore I have to find out the growth percent or growth rate of sales of Toyota in 2022. So the 2 years given are 21 and 22, right? Suppose the total market in the year 21 was 100. So what has happened with the total market is it has grown up to become 120. It has grown by 20%. 20% of 100 is 20. Now out of this 100, Toyota represented 8% of the sales, and therefore Toyota sold 8 units. What about 2022? In 2022, Toyota was 36 degrees of 120. Therefore, 36 upon 360 into 120, which is 1/10 of 120 or 12. And therefore, this number has gone from 8 to 12. So, an increase of 4 on a base of 8, which happens to be 1 by 2 or 50%. So, the answer becomes none of these. Comparison across pie charts happens only when there is a relationship between the total values of the pie charts. Alright. Next, 17. If the automobile market in India grows by 20% in 2023 and Maruti grows by 40% in 2023, then market share in percentage of Maruti is. So the total sales of 23, what part is Maruti of that is the question. And the question pertains to 23. We have been given data about 21 and 22, so we project 23. Now, suppose in 2022, the total number of cars sold was 100. In India, the market grows by 20% in 23. So, in 2023, the market will become 120. Now, to find the number of Marutis sold, in 2022, it is given to me that 108 degrees was Maruti, 108 degree of 100. So, this becomes 108 upon 360 into 100. I cancel a 0, 36 3s are 108 and therefore 30. So, this number for Maruti has to grow by 40%. I find out 40% of 30. 40 upon 100 into 30, zeros will get cancelled out. So, simply 4 into 3, 12. Increase 30 by 12, you get a 42. So, that in 23, the total sales is 120, of which Maruti is 42 units, and therefore, market share of Maruti will be 42 out of 120 into 100. I cancel the 0, divide by 2, 2 6s are 12, 2 5s are 10, 6 7s are 42, and therefore the answer becomes 7 5s are 35. Again, not very difficult questions, straightforward calculations. There is some projection required, but you have to understand multiple values are solved, right? There were some questions where there was only one value that was to be calculated. Here, two values, intermediate values are to be calculated from where we get the answer. So the time of attempt increases. So while you are attempting the paper, you have to make that call as to which questions you would attempt in the time period, which ones you will leave for the end. Time permitting, you will attempt, otherwise you will leave. All right. Next question. So the next question, till by now we've seen questions on tables, line chart, bar chart, pie chart, right? There could be questions which have more than one of these types of picture or table used together. For example, this question has a bar chart and then there is table. So what happens is a part of the information is in one graph, then there is further bifurcation or further details about that data in the second chart or the graph. For example, here the bar chart gives me the population of 5 cities. Sorry. Delhi, Mumbai, Calcutta, Chennai, Ahmedabad, and their populations are mentioned. Also, there is a unit 000. So, for example, the population of Delhi will be 910,000, right? So, 9,10,000. Further, in the table, it says for every city, the population is divided in the ratio male female in the ratio 6:7, and rural urban it is divided in the ratio 4:3, and so on for each corresponding city, right? The first question here, question 18 says, what percentage is the rural population in Mumbai of? So I have to find out the percentage. What is the value for which the percentage to be found out? Rural population in Mumbai. And with what base is this to be compared? Of male population in Ahmedabad. So the numerator becomes the rural population in Mumbai, which is population of Mumbai is 1331,000. The rural population will be 21 upon 55, because rural plus urban is in the ratio 21:34. So the total becomes 21 plus 34, 55, out of which 21 is rural, therefore 21 upon 55 of 13,310. Male population of Ahmedabad population is 900,000. How many males here? For Ahmedabad, male female is 8:7. So 8 out of a total 15 are males. Since I want a percentage value, multiply by 100. So I solve this, divide by 5, 11, 3, right? Then 11 cancels 1331 to give me a 121. I cancel this 9 by a 3 to get a 3. 3 sevens gives me a 21. So the 3 zeros cancel here, the 2 zeros cancel here. So what I am left with is 7 into 121 upon 8, right? So that is basically 7/8 of 121. So the answer will be a little less than 121. Let's try to calculate this. 7 into 121 will be 847. 7 12s are 84, 7 1s are 7, divided by 8. I make the division, 8 1s are 8, 0, 4 7, 8 5s are 40, 7, 7 by 8 is 875. As far as I remember, therefore, the closest 105.87 becomes the answer, right? That is what I am expected to do in further questions as well. This question then reads, which of the following can be the ratio of males to females in Mumbai? Okay. So now whatever the number of males and females is, that has to be a natural number, an integer, right? It cannot be a decimal. You cannot have 3.5 men and 4.3 women in the city, right? So whatever the ratio is, it has to be such that it divides the total population of Mumbai. The total population of Mumbai is 1331 and then a 000. Now if I look at the first option, 9:8, males to females. So the number of males will be 9 upon 17. 17 does not divide 1331. So this is not possible. The next is 7:4, which means male becomes 7 upon 11 into 1331. This division is possible, and therefore this could be a possible value. Similarly, when you look at 6:7, 6 plus 7 is 13. 1331 is not divisible by 13, and therefore that is also not possible. Hence, the answer becomes option number 2. Right? Again, basic question, one value to be calculated should be attempted. Next, what is the number of rural males in Kolkata? Now, Calcutta has 1140 people. Out of this, how many rural people are there? Rural population is 1 by 1 plus 5, 1/6 of 1140. But I don't stop there, I want rural males. What will be the number of males out of these? Again, please control your urge to answer this, find a value, because that information is not given. Males to females is for the entire population. The ratio could be different for the rural part, it could be different for the urban part, and therefore technically at this point, because this breakup is not given, the answer simply becomes cannot be determined, right? Next, if the total population of the 5 cities put together, total rural population is 2500,000, then what is the ratio of rural to urban population in Ahmedabad? Okay, this is a value that was not given. I have to find this out. Since the total rural population is given, what I'll do is I'll find out the rural population of Ahmedabad, and since I know the total population of Ahmedabad, I will be able to find out the rural is to urban of Ahmedabad and hence the ratio, right? Now, let us start by finding out the rural population of each city. For Delhi, it is 4 by 7 of 910. For Mumbai, it is 21 upon 55 of 1331. There will be 3 zeros after all of these numbers. I'll actually, should I put it? I'll just write it down as well. Then Kolkata is 1 by 6 of 1140 and Chennai is 7 by 10 of Chennai 1700, sorry. Now this is a question that probably I would not attempt in the exam because this requires decent number of calculations. 7 13s are 13 4s are 52, 5 2 1 2 3 4. I divide by 11 first, so 5 is left, 121 is left, then I divide 5 by this 10 to get a 2. Therefore 21 into 121 into 2, that becomes 121 into 21 is what I am calculating. So 21 into 21 is 441. 21 into 100 is 2100. Therefore 2541. That multiplied by 2 will give you 5082 and then a 00. 508200. Next, Calcutta. 6 ones are 6, 6 nines are 54, and then 1 2 3 4. So 1 9 1 2 3 4. This is Calcutta. Next is Chennai. 0 0 cancel. 7 7 7 9 4 7 1 1 9 0 0 0 0 9 1 1. This becomes the value. I start adding 0 0 2 8 9 9 18 20 0 2 5 5 10 12 13 14 4 1 2 4 0 8 2 0 0. Since the total population was 25000, so the rural population of Ahmedabad alone then comes out to, just create some space here. See, if you do things आराम से तो ज़्यादा better result आता है. Yeah, 2500 and then 3 zeros minus 2408 200, right? So 0 0 in the end, 8, 10 minus 2, 9 minus 8, 9, and that is about it. Yeah, 91800. This is the rural population of Ahmedabad. If you subtract it from 90000, 900,000, you will get the urban population of Ahmedabad and you divide. Now what I am saying is, at this point the addition seems a little difficult to me, right? So what I am doing is, I will just see which numerator divides 918. So I check with 51. So 18 ones are 18, 18 fives are is 90. So when you write the ratio, you will write 91800 upon some number, right? So you cancel out, you will be left with 51 upon something. Since on the options only first option is 51, that should be the answer. To be sure, just add these two. You will realize 51 plus 449 is 500, and 500 into 18. This 18 gives you 900 as well, and therefore this becomes the answer. Out of the 4 questions in this set, this 4th question should not have been attempted in the exam. It will end up eating a lot of time. There are lots of possibilities of making a mistake. You might regret it in the end, right? Moving on then. Set theory. Okay. So typically what happens is, in set theory, there will be 2 or 3 groups of people which will have intersection. So people are, say, speaking a language or playing a sport, different sports. Some people will be playing one sport, some people will be playing 2, some people will be playing 3, and so on. Numbers will be given. You have to find out the distribution for each set. For example, in a colony there are 500 people. So see, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different parts to this. The sum of all this should ideally be 500 if all of them speak at least one language. Out of them, 120 speak only Hindi. So let this circle be Hindi. Only English is this circle. Only French is this circle, or French is that circle. The number of people speaking only Hindi and English is 30. Number of people speaking Hindi and French is 35, whereas the number of people speaking both English and French is 45. Everyone of the 500 speaks at least one of the 3 languages. Okay. So here this word is very important. When I say English, that would mean this entire circle. So all of these will be part of English. But when I say only English, I'm just talking of people who speak English. When I say English and Hindi, this entire thing will be part of English and Hindi, because people here are part of both these circles. To refer to this part at the top, I will call it only Hindi. Alright? Only Hindi and English. Right? So only, what only does it? It qualifies a part of the circle, and if only is not mentioned, then it will have everything that has that part and anything extra. So Hindi means the sum of these 4 parts. Hindi and English means this entire thing. Hindi and French means this entire thing. Only Hindi means just this part. Only Hindi and English means just this part, and only Hindi and French means just this part. So in a set question, please be very sure of the word only. Next, another formula that you can use is the number of people in every part is called is represented by number of elements in that set. So a formula that I get is number of elements in A union B union C, where A is Hindi, B is English, C is French. Number of people speaking Hindi, the entire circle, plus number of people speaking French, plus number of people speaking English, minus number of people speaking English and Hindi, minus number of people speaking Hindi and French, and so on. Plus number of people speaking all 3 languages. This is a formula that can be used. I don't think it will be required for our purpose, but just in case it does come up. In this question, the numbers are actually given. So if I draw the 3 circles for English, Hindi and French, 120 speak only Hindi, so 120 goes here. 140 speak only English, 140 goes here. 150 speak only French, 150 goes here. The number of people speaking only Hindi and English, the intersection of English, Hindi and only. So 30 comes here. Then the word only is not mentioned. The number of people speaking Hindi and French is 35. So this part, say if I say this is A, B and C. So English, Hindi and French, which is B plus C, will be 35. Whereas the number of people speaking both English and French. English and French are these 2 circles. The intersection will be A plus B is 45. And can you find out the value of A plus B plus C? The sum of all of these numbers should be equal to 500, because that is the total number of people. So I say A plus B plus C plus 140. Okay. 120 plus 30 is 150, 150 plus 150, 300, plus 140 is 440. So ABC plus 440 is equal to 500, which gives me A plus B plus C as 60. If I add these two, I'll get A plus B plus C plus B, because B is twice, 70 plus 10, 80. If you subtract these two, you'll get the value of B as 20. And therefore, the number of people speaking all three languages here becomes 20. Since A plus B was 25, B has become 20, so A will become 25. And here, since B plus C is 35, B is 20, C will be 15. This is 25, this is 20, this would be 15. I'd write it properly. 25, 20 and 15. So I know the number of each part. Then I look at the question. How many people speak all the three languages? Simple, 20. Next. How many speak Hindi and at least one more language? So Hindi, but they have to speak at least one more language. So these 30, these 20 and 15. 30 plus 20 plus 15, at least one more language, comes out to a total of 65. How many do not speak English? Let's go to the diagram again. This entire circle is for English. The ones outside these circles are the ones who do not speak English. So 150 plus 120, 270 plus 15, that comes out to 285. Lastly, what is the number of people speaking at least two languages? So at least two languages means 2 and 3, both the cases. At most two languages means one language, no language, or two language. So at most means up till that point, at least means from that point onwards. So how many people speak at least two languages? The 30 for English and Hindi, the 25 for English and French only, the 15 for French and Hindi only, and 20 speaking all three languages. This becomes 30 and 40. 40 plus 50. The answer should be 90, therefore none of these. Right? In a set theory question, what you should remember is, number one, this part is important. This gives you the idea of the total that will be in the circles. If this line was not written, then there could be people who are not speaking any language, they will be outside the circle. So they will not be counted in the in the sense, the values in the circle will not add up to 500. So this part is important. For example, if the question said 10 people speak no language, then the sum of all the numbers in the circle would be 490. That is an important part. Again, if the level of this question increases, then you might end up using the formula that I said. So just to put values to that formula, if I just put values to that formula that I just wrote, here the number of people speaking English, so N of E would be 140 plus 30 plus 20 plus 25, 170, 190, 215. Number of people for French would be 150, 25, 15 and 20. So 40, 60, 210. Number of people speaking Hindi would be 120, 30, 20, 15. So 140, 170, 185. Number of people for English and Hindi would be 30 plus 20, which is 50. Hindi and French, this is I think already given, 45. Hindi and English, again already given. Hindi and English is done. English and French, sorry. English and French would be English and French. Just a second. Yeah. English and Hindi is 50. English and French is 45. and Hindi and French is 35. Similarly, number of people who speak all three languages, Hindi, French and English, is 20. So for these values, the total number, which is 500, would be 215 plus 210 plus 185 minus 50 minus 45 minus 35 plus 20. If one of these numbers are not given, you can use this formula to find out the value. If there are two sets only, then this formula becomes, if there are only two sets, A, B, A and B both, so number of elements in A union B is given by the sum of these three values, number of elements in A plus number of elements in B minus number of elements in A and B both. Suppose this value is x, y, z, so this will be x plus y plus z, this would be x plus y, this would be y plus z, this would be y. Alright. Should not go up to this extent because the syllabus is till class 8th only, but again on the safer side, but this is a question that you can expect. Alright. So that is all for this video. Thank you very much for your time, and in the next video we try to finish off the other topics that are left from logical reasoning. Thank you very much.